Okay, our order of operations, we know it as PEMDAS. Political education makes determined Africans sovereign. This gives us our order of operation. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division from left to right, and addition and subtraction from left to right. So let's apply that to some problems dealing with real numbers now. So number 72. Here we have this problem in fraction form. What you have to remember is that this fraction bar, we can write it as a fraction sign. We can write the same problem using the fraction sign. But anytime you have a fractional problem like this, you have to think of the denominator as being in parentheses. So automatically go ahead and put this in parentheses. So if you like, you can then rewrite it as follows using the division sign rather than the fraction bar. So you could say this is 2 plus the quantity 2 plus 3 times 3 divided by the quantity 6 minus 1. So anytime you have a fraction, you have to think about the denominator as being in parentheses, all right? Because if you don't, then that changes the way the problem is solved. So now you can think about it in this form, which you're probably more familiar with. So we can solve this using PEMDAS. The first step is to evaluate within the parentheses. So we can say 2 plus 3, that's 5. So this becomes 5 times 3 divided by 6 minus 1. And I like to take mine step by step. So then I'll save this second set of parentheses for the next step. 6 minus 1 is 5. So this is 5 times 3 divided by 5. Okay, then I have no exponents in this problem. So the next thing is multiplication and division from left to right. Remember, the M before the D does not mean you have to do multiplication before division. Same thing with the A before the S. You do not have to do addition before the subtraction. Once you get down to a problem that's only multiplication and division, you just do it from left to right. In this case, you do 5 times 3, which gives you 15. And then 15 divided by 5. I'm just going from left to right. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that's my final answer. Okay, number 73, PEMDAS, parentheses, there are none. Exponents, but there is an exponent. So we're going to do that first. So this is going to be 4 plus 4 squared. Remember, 4 squared is not 4 times 2, but it's 4 times 4. So this is 4 squared, which is 16, minus 2, plus 4. So now our expression only has addition and subtraction. PEMDAS says we do addition and subtraction from left to right. We do not do all the addition first and then subtract. No, that's wrong. We do addition and subtraction from left to right. So we just do that. So 14 plus 4 plus 16 is 20. So this is 20 minus 2 plus 4. 20 minus 2 is 18. So then we have 18 plus 4, and 18 plus 4 is 22. And that's our final answer. Okay, order of operations. Now that we're in algebra, we're dealing with real numbers, so we can do it with fractions too. All right, so PEMDAS, first thing is parentheses. There's nothing to evaluate inside of this parentheses, so the next thing is exponents. So here we have this fraction, or this mixed number, 1 3/4 raised to the third power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into an improper fraction, and then we're going to evaluate that to the third power. So this is 1/2 plus 1/6 plus, okay, so 1 3/4 is going to be 7/4 as an improper fraction. So 7/4 to the third power, that means that we have to do 7/4 times 7/4 times 7/4. All right. So remember, multiplying fractions, we just multiply all the numerators and we multiply all the denominators. So 7 times 7 times 7, that's 7 to the third power. And that is actually, so 7 times 7 is 49. And 49 times 7 gives you 343. So this is 343 for our numerator. Again, do not make the rookie mistake of saying 7 to the third power is 7 times 3 is 21. Nope, rookie mistake. It's 7 to the third power, 7 cubed. So 7 times 7 is 49, and then 49 times 7 is 343. Same thing with the denominator. This is 4 times 4 times 4. That's 4 cubed. So 4 cubed there's going to be 64, right? So 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. All right, so that's what we get if we do that. So if we come back over here, this now is 1/2 plus 1/6 plus 343 64ths. Okay, so the next step, of course, is to find common denominators. And okay, so let's see. So what's the common denominator between 6 and 64? So to figure that out, we're going to find the greatest common factor between, and the reason I'm doing 6 and 64 only and not including the 2 is because because both of these are even. I know that the common factor will be easy to find. So the thing I really want to find is the greatest common factor between, not the greatest common factor, pardon me, the least common multiple, between 6 and 64. All right, so the least common multiple between 6 and 64 is going to be 192. And of course, I know that I can get a denominator of 2 into that multiple as well. So our common denominator here is 192. All right, so it's going to be this over 192 plus this over 192 plus this over 192. Okay, how did we get 2 to become 192? Well, we multiplied it by 96. All right, so I'm multiplying the denominator here by 96, and I'm multiplying the numerator here by 96. And then how did we get the denominator of 6 to turn into 192? We multiplied it by 32. So 6 times 32 will give us 192. Then we also multiply our numerator by 32 as well. And then finally, how did we get 64 to become 192? We multiplied it by 3. So I'm going to multiply my denominator here by 3. I'm going to multiply my numerator here by 3 as well. Okay, and so doing that, 1 times 96 here, this gives me 96 over 192. 1 times 32 gives me 32 over 192. And then 343 times 3, that gives me 1,029 over 64 times 3 gives me 192. So now that I have all of my numerators, all I need to do is add them up. So 96 plus 32 plus 1,029 summed together will give me 1,157. And then my denominator is the same. It's 192. All right, so this is 1,157 1/92. And if you like, we can convert that into a mixed number, and that will be 6 and 5 192. And that is our answer here. And I'll circle it because we got a lot going on. All right, so this is our PEMDAS here. So the key here was to first evaluate our parentheses, or excuse me, our exponents. All right, so we changed the 1 3/4 mixed number to an improper fraction of 7/4. Okay, and then we cubed that. So 7/4 cubed gave us 343 64ths. All right, and so then if we proceeded to add our fractions together, and doing so, we needed to find common denominators. We found common denominator of 192. That's the least common multiple between 2, 6, and 64 is 192. And we get our final answer of 6 and 5 192. All right, last one, dealing with decimals. So PEMDAS tells us the first thing we do is parentheses. So we're going to divide first. So 3.7 divided by 2.3. And then we're going to cube that. All right, so here, 3.7 divided by 2.3 does not give us a nice, neat type of number. So what I want to do is I'm going to cube these numbers first, and then I'm going to do the division. It doesn't really matter So you can do it either way. So you can either cube each of these numbers and then divide, or you can divide first and then cube it. We'll go ahead and divide first and then cube it. So if you divide this, this is 2.3 divided into 3.7. So of course we know we have a decimal in our divisors. We have to move it one place to the right, move it here one place to the right, bring our decimal point up, annex a couple of zeros. And if we do this division, and for the sake of time, I'm not going to do it, you'll get about 1.6087. All right, that is not exactly correct, but we are just going to round this here for the sake of rounding. All right, so we get that number and then we raise it to the third power. And so basically it's this number times itself 3 times. And so what that gives us is approximately this. So let's start writing. So this is going to be 5.5 plus 3.4 minus this number to the third power. All right, so this is 1.6087, and I'm raising that to the third power. Again, I'm rounding here, so I'm going to use the approximation sign. So this becomes 5.5 plus 3.4 minus. So this number to the third power is approximately 4.16315. All right, that's rounded to 5 decimal points like so. And then now PEMDAS tells us we do addition and subtraction from left to right. So we do 5.5 plus 3.4. And at this point, that should basically be mental math for you. And so that gives us 8.9. So this is 8.9 minus 4.16315. And if we do the subtraction there, then we will get about 4.737. All right, so this is rounding a lot because we have this division problem and we didn't get nice whole numbers. So this is an approximation because I didn't want to carry all the decimal points out. But that's basically how you do it. You see, you're doing the same thing. It doesn't matter if we have decimals or fractions or integers. We're doing the same steps. All right, so this is order of operations. That's how you do it.